The comeback Knicks using the Nova Knicks to take a 2-0 series lead over the Boston Celtics. They trailed by 20 in both games, 1 and 2, and came back to win both of them on the road. Welcome to Playoff Central Live, presented by AT&T. The three-time champion UD is here, and also George Niang, member of the Atlanta Hawks. Guys, so much to get through here, but the Knicks, this is the third time this postseason they've come back in a playoff game being down by 8 in the fourth quarter. What makes them so effective in doing it?
I just think they are so bought into playing that physical, tough, rugged basketball. Yes. They make it a junkyard dogfight, and that's what they did. They know how they win games, and they're going to make you play that way. And frankly, Boston isn't used to playing that way. They're used to playing fast, getting threes up. And if New York can keep the scores at 100 and below, you're going to see a lot more of this in wins for the Knicks.
Yeah, I think New York kind of got in Boston's head a little bit. I think we talked about Boston shooting threes and missing a lot of threes, but this is who Boston is. I mean, we praised them this season when they set the three-point record for a single season. We praised the Boston Celtics. So tonight, I saw some threes that those guys normally would have let go that they kind of passed up. This is who you are. You built these habits over the season, over the course of the years, playing, getting 2 feet in the paint, spraying the ball. I think Boston needs to be who Boston is. Peyton Pritchard, who's a guy who's the sixth man of the year, who thrives off Jason Tatum getting in the paint, who thrives off Brown getting in the paint. 9 points tonight, 6 points last game, 15 points in 2 games. This is the sixth man of the year. He has to get involved, and his involvement comes off those guys being aggressive, getting in the paint. Now, the Knicks can combat that because they have wing defenders. They have the the OGs. Yes. They have the Josh Hart. So shout out to Josh Hart tonight, because until they got it going offensively in the fourth quarter through Brunson, Josh Hart kept those guys in the game. So they have those wing defenders that can combat those guys and stay at home. This is going to be a great series, but I do not think Boston goes out like that. I know you're excited over there. You're keeping it. You're keeping it inside.
Josh Hart, the leading scorer for the Knicks with 23 points. Let's go through the critical plays down the stretch. All right, for the Boston Celtics, you see them up 1 here. Jason Tatum off. They missed 14 consecutive shots in the fourth quarter. Jalen Brunson, you see it? Under 2 minutes to go. That is the Knicks' first lead of the game, 87-86. How about Jaylen Brown trying to get in on the action to stop the drought? No bueno. Same for Derek White. Jalen Brunson, NBA Clutch Player of the Year. His playoff low, just 17 points, but getting the buckets late. Part of a 21-2 run by the Knicks. Then Brunson off. OG Anunoby can't save it, so the Celtics get the ball down by 1. And what did you guys notice about this for Jason Tatum?
Well, I love the fact that they set the screen early at half court. That gives him runway to go downhill against the 5-man. There's no 5-man in the NBA that's going to stand in front of Jason Tatum once he gets a full head of steam downhill.
First bucket in an 8-minute span for the Celtics. Then Jalen Brunson fouled with 12 seconds to go. George, you didn't like that at all?
No, that's a position where you shouldn't foul and make him make a shot over the top.
What do you think about this defense here by the Knicks?
Multiple efforts, and I think this is where the Knicks is winning this series, and it's crazy because Boston are the defending champions. They've seen it all, but I really think that multiple efforts are being made by the New York Knicks.
Now, we often hear about, quote, the Nova Knicks. You see Mikal Bridges making the defensive plays at the end of back-to-back games. You mentioned Josh Hart with 43 points. This on a night when Jalen Brunson, 6 for 19, just 17 points. Let's hear from Jalen Brunson with Allie LaFleur. It's a 6th consecutive game decided by 5 points or less for the Knicks in this playoff run. But you look at the fourth quarter, outscoring the Celtics by 13. They were, of course, down by 12 heading into the fourth. And here's the thing, George, you pointed to this. At the beginning of the fourth quarter, Karl-Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson on the bench, and it was under 7 when Brunson came back in, and it was like, okay, they're waiting for a while to get him back in the game. What did you make of that and how it ended up working out for the Knicks?
Yeah, I was a little unsure of why they didn't come in a little earlier, but, that's why Tibbs is the coach that he is, right? Yes. He knows what buttons to press, what guys to play. And just frankly, I think the Knicks are just wearing the Celtics down at this point. To have a team go 5 for 24, to miss 14 consecutive shots for another night in a row, you have Boston star players not shooting to their averages, I think the Knicks are really just wearing on the Boston Celtics.
And we mentioned this before the game of Karl Anthony Towns. He had back-to-back off nights, right? He had a double-double in the first half, 14 and 10, finished with 21 and 17, but efficient from the field as well. Really,
he's going to have he's always going to have an advantage. If you're big, he can take you out of the perimeter. He can shoot it so well that you got to close. He can go by you. And if you're a small guy, he can get in the paint. He can punish you. He can go up. And if he gets 2 feet and you come, he's skilled enough to make the right plays. So this is something the Knicks can go to any night if they want.
You know, we talked about the quality of three-point shots in the first game and the difference between that series against the Orlando Magic for the Celtics. They shot a third of the threes that they shot in game one. 40, but they still shot just 25% from long range. What are you seeing and why they're incapable of shooting a higher percentage?
Yeah, as a shooter, it's a mentality, right? Even though when you miss, you still have to take the next one, right? And I was talking with UD about this. I think they're a little hesitant. You know, there's some shots that they are turning down that is Boston Celtics basketball. Like, let's not get this wrong. They should be shooting more two-pointers. But like you said, shooting three-pointers is who they are. This is what they do. We've complimented them for this. So I don't think they should get too far away from who they are. But at the end of the day, they're going to need to start making some three-point shots. And that's all stepping in with confidence, not overthinking it. Yes, you missed some shots first 2 games, but that's why it's a 7-game series.
Yeah, I mean, and the other guys, those are the guys that are really the guys that they need to step up. Tatum and Brown are going to have the ball in their hand. They have to exploit those one-on-one matchups. They have to get in the paint. They have to be aggressive. They have to be explosive. But we need Peyton Pritchard. We need Al Horford. We need these other guys to step up.
Porzingis. What's going on there?
What is going on with that? They need those guys. And the burst that he gave them when he came back last year, they need something like that. He is not their best player, but he's their most irreplaceable player. They don't have a 7'3" guy who can stretch the floor and can also go down in the paint. And with his size can protect the basket. Yes. So they need that.
Yeah, Kristaps Porzingis did not play the second half of game 1, 14 minutes all of game 2. Joe Mazzulla had some interesting...
Number 3. Monica McNutt trying to sort out the box score in Boston. Helped call the game on the radio on ESPN New York. Monica, you got it all straight or what?
I got it all straight, and I just want to confirm for all the folks that were just talking about the Celtics, again, 25% from 3, maybe, just maybe, have a little bit of a conversation about the Knicks defense.
Monica, like, what was going on in that building? Because the Celtics completely just shut down in the fourth quarter, and they just melted down. I mean, there's no other way to put it. Their offense couldn't get anything done. What was the vibe? What were the fans doing? What were the players doing? What was their body language saying in that building?
So, Wally, interesting, with about 4 minutes to go in the third, I think the lead was still teetering around 14. Tyler, my terrific radio partner, Tyler Murray, actually called out the nervous energy of the fans in this building. You could feel it. You could feel it. And I think the Knicks continuing to stay attached, and then you get the fourth quarter performance that you got from Mikal Bridges. The Celtics players, to me, the only word I can come up with, y'all, is arrogance. They continue to go to those threes as if they are just going to fall inevitably, right? I think the only play down the stretch where you saw them not go to a 3 was when Jason Tatum took the lead on that dunk, right? But it was 2 things. It was an arrogance as a collective, but then I also think they were a little bit disjointed and had I'm going to take over syndrome. And ultimately, particularly, I think it was 3 out of 4 possessions down the stretch, the Knicks defense is able to collapse and come up with big-time rebounds. I just give the Knicks so much credit, y'all. Like, I give the Knicks so much credit.
Yeah, it's like not letting go. A true veteran team, a true gritty team that in a playoff game on the road down 20 late in the third quarter, a lot of times you're untying the shoelaces, but this team doesn't do that. You mentioned Mikal Bridges, Monica. Josh Hart said after game 1, he's a winning player who makes winning plays. He didn't have a basket until the fourth quarter, but he seemed to really be a big part of turning the game around with his offense. And then, of course, another late defensive play from Mikal Bridges. What did you see in him in that fourth quarter?
I'm just seeing focus from him. And the fourth quarter, obviously, he begins to get to his mid-range, particularly while Jalen Brunson is on the floor, on the bench, getting his routine rest as far as his rotation. But I think, Han, just to look at his scoring in the fourth quarter is to do a disservice to the way that he's actually playing right now. Jason Tatum is averaging 31 points, y'all. He got nowhere close to that. He had 13 points in this ballgame. And that is a byproduct of Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby's attention to detail on the defensive end and their commitment to being physical with this team that has been an offensive juggernaut all season. Now, yes, the fourth quarter was obviously huge, but again, I continue to say that since Game 3 in the last series, this version of Mikal Bridges is the one that you brought to this organization. And I would just add to that, you guys, I know that this was years ago when those guys were at Villanova. But when you talk about guys that win, to your point about what Josh Hart said about Mikal Bridges, there is a grittiness and a toughness, and you know my key today was composure. There was a composure that I felt like the players played with, and even Tibbs coached with, that was big time tonight.
All right, Monica, see you on Saturday. Got enough energy maybe to walk back?
Oh, my. Pito, spell composure this time, Pito. We got to go back to your spelling quiz.
No spelling tonight.
No, definitely
no spelling. Guys, the Knicks are the first time in the play-by-play era, that dates back to 96-97, to win 2 straight playoff games when trailing by at least 20 points in each of the 2 games. Tom Thibodeau, his post-game comments, presented by Chase.
Coach, what can you say about your team? Back-to-back games, 20-point deficits, coming away with 2 victories.
Yeah, and that's the playoffs. You got to keep fighting. Every possession matters, and you got to play all 48 minutes. And so we started slowly, got in a big hole, dug our way out, and then guys made a lot of tough plays. They were at their best when their best was needed down the stretch.
Coach, as far as I know, this is the first time in the NBA playoff history all the road teams won game 1, and the second game you won. There is no more home court advantage in NBA?
It seems like it's changing, so I think just the way the game goes now, you can make up ground, I think, a lot quicker, with the way teams shoot threes. And I know, like, for the writers who are around us, they always think every lead is safe, but it's not. And so everything does matter.
Tom, on that last play, just, I guess, walk us through a little bit. It looked like Mitch and OG basically forced him to the left, and what you saw from there.
Yeah, and I thought there was good team defense on that. There was a swarm, and Tatum is so tough when he gets any speed and he's going downhill. So you need bodies in front of him, and then the pursuit from behind is also important. But I thought in the fourth quarter our defense was outstanding, and that's what we need to do for the entire game. Now we're still really concerned about the rebounding. We have to fix that.
Obviously, you don't want to get in the habit of 20-point comebacks. But what does that say about the character of this team?
Well, always have the belief, I think, in each other. I think you get to the playoffs, it's about really your mental toughness, your defense, and your teamwork, and always having the belief that you could do something better and you could find a way to win, right? So it's a long game, keep playing, and that's what they did. And this team has been that way all season long. We dealt with, Mitch being out more than the first half of the season. Then Jalen took the injury in March, and they kept marching forward, and I think that's important for us. Thought Mitch gave us a huge lift off the bench. Cat was, huge, had the big putback. I think Mikal, the way he scored in the fourth was huge for us. It gave us a lot of confidence. And then, Jalen, that's Jalen. It doesn't matter what's going on in the game. He's going to be at his best when his best is needed. And timely plays, but there was a lot of hustle plays in there as well.
As it pertains to Mikal, you always talk about he's one of those guys that puts in the work. And this is the second game in a row he's come up big in the fourth quarter. What have you learned about him? What does it say about his makeup for him to keep shooting and keep going after those first
I think one of the things I really respect about him is his demeanor. He just keeps marching forward. And He doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low, but he's a great competitor. And so just find ways to help us win. And if your shot's not dropping, play great defense, move without the ball, push the ball up the floor. I thought we got some fast break baskets in the second half. I thought that helped us a lot as well.
Hey, Tom, when you guys are down 20, Miles comes in, and how much of a spark do you think that was?
Yeah, I think he and Mitch, because we were flat. I think they came in and they provided a spark and got us going. We got some stops, and we got into the open floor. A couple shots went down, right? And then everyone started feeling a lot better. And then once we got it inside 10, we always have the belief that, we can win.
Tom, with Mitch, he's been on a lot of these switches during these first two games, and he seems to have really held his own in most of those situations. When did you feel like he was really somebody who you trusted guarding perimeter players out there?
About 4 years ago.
It was there because early in his career he hung around
the first thing, he's got great feet and anticipation. So I think the challenge was when we first got here was he's really it's not only his defense, but he's very disciplined. And I think that was probably the piece, like for most young players. Once he got to know the players better, and then learning how to become the second jumper, I think all those things helped eliminate, the reckless fouls. And he's a huge factor. He's a hard guy to score over. So even if you score over him, it's going to be a tough shot. And so I think he's learned that. He doesn't whack down anymore. Those cheap fouls are gone.
Tom, when you think about the clutch, a lot of people consider that offensive, but now this is the second time that Mikhail's come up big. The game on the line on defense.
Yeah.
Is clutch defense a thing?
Yeah, like people always talk about offensive runs. I think you go on defensive runs as well. You also go on rebounding runs. You'll see guys, all of a sudden, they have, like Josh is a prime example. All of a sudden, he has 2 or 3 rebounds, and then he'll get like 4 or 5 in a row. So it's like making shots. And so I think whatever it takes for us to win, like Carl had the big and one, Mikhail with timely baskets, Jalen with timely baskets, Josh with his hustle, Mitch all over the floor, switching, guarding.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to New York Knicks Report, your home for unapologetic Knicks passion, hard truths, and raw emotion. If you're a die-hard fan who lives and breathes orange and blue, then you already know what time it is. Because, once again, the New York Knicks have stormed into Boston, into hostile territory, and walked out with another massive win. That's right. Game 1 wasn't a fluke. Game 2 wasn't luck. This is real. This is grit. This is Knicks basketball at its core. And you better believe it's time to talk about how Coach Tom Thibodeau and his squad have flipped the pressure on the Celtics, silenced the doubters, and taken full control of this second-round series. Heading into Game 2, the narrative was clear. The Celtics were going to come out angry, desperate, determined. Everyone knew Boston would make adjustments after collapsing in overtime during Game 1. And Knicks head coach Tom Thibodeau, he knew exactly what was coming. They're going to come with more force, Thib said. We've got to be better. And oh, they were better. New York wasn't just ready. They were built for it. Let's talk about resilience. Let's talk about poise. Down by 20 in Game 1? No problem. Down by 16 in Game 2? Still no panic. What we're witnessing is not just a team executing a game plan. We're seeing the formation of a mindset, a culture, a team that refuses to be rattled no matter the odds. Game 2 was a chess match, a battle of wills. And in the final minutes, with everything on the line, it was Jalen Brunson stepping up to the line with ice in his veins. 2 free throws, 12.7 seconds left, game on the line, Madison Square Garden watching, Boston Garden silent. Swish, swish, and then Mikal Bridges' defense, intensity, hustle. He strips the ball clean from Jason Tatum. No foul, no shot attempt, just pure heart. And that, my friends, sealed it. Let's not forget Josh Hart, 23 points. The energy guy, the X Factor, the guy who does whatever this team needs. Karl Anthony Towns, a double-double machine, 21 points, 17 rebounds. Beast mode when it mattered most. And Bridges, all 14 of his points came in the fourth quarter. When it was time to close, he delivered. This team doesn't have just one hero. It's a coalition, a squad that fights for each other, that trusts each other. And now they head back to New York with a 2-0 series lead. Boston, they're in chaos. Let's call it like it is. Tatum was held to 13 points. That's your MVP candidate. That's your closer. The Celtics are rattled. They've now blown back-to-back double-digit leads, and their once-feared shooting gone. Game 1, 15 for 60 from 3. Game 2, 10 for 40. That's 25%. That's desperation. That's panic. And don't talk to me about Porzingis giving them a boost. 8 points in limited minutes isn't the answer when your franchise is crumbling under playoff pressure. Joe Mazzulla, he says they just need to put a full 48 minutes together. That's cute, because the Knicks just put together 48 minutes of heart, hustle, and hard-earned buckets. This isn't the same old Knicks. This is a new chapter, and it's being written in real time. Let's talk about what this 2-0 lead really means. The Knicks didn't just win 2 games on the road. They took Boston's soul. They flipped the script. The Garden, our Garden, is about to explode for Games 3. And for Boston now has to do what New York just did, steal one on the road. Except here's the problem. We don't give it up easy at MSG. You want to win in New York, you better be ready to go to war. And right now, the Celtics don't look like a team that's ready for that smoke. Thibs has these boys locked in. Brunson is showing the world why he's the best clutch performer in the game today. Not Steph, not Luka, Brunson, Hart, Bridges, Anunoby, Towns. Every single player is doing what it takes. No egos, no excuses, just results. Now let me turn it to you, the real heartbeat of this team. Knicks Nation, I want to hear from you. Is this the most mentally tough Knicks team you've seen in your lifetime? Can they sweep Boston? Can they make a real run to the finals? Are we seeing the rebirth of a contender in real time? Let me know in the comments. Tell me who your MVP of Game 2 was. Tell me who you want to see step up in Game 3. I want that feed flooded with blue and orange pride. Here's the bottom line. The Knicks didn't just beat the Celtics, they broke the Celtics. And now, it's our time. The national media may not believe, but we do, you do, because this isn't about flashy stats or SportsCenter highlights. This is about grit, defense, teamwork, and refusing to back down. So buckle up, Knicks fans. This ride is far from over, and when it ends, it might just end in confetti at the Garden. You've been watching New York Knicks Report. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts below. Game 3 is coming, and so is the Storm. Let's go Knicks.